Hey, this is former WWE superstar and ECW original, The Blue Meanie. And you're watching the Tell Us About Yourself show on Foxworthy 257. Now, if you're looking to watch a show about people who play the Super Show wrestling card and dice game, I highly recommend it. The Blue Meanie told you! The Blue Meanie sent you to watch Foxworthy 257, or else I'll come get you.
My name is Brian Pillman Jr., and you are watching Tell Us About Yourself, only on Foxworthy 257 Twitch channel.
Hi guys, I'm Session Martina, and you are watching Tell Us About Yourself on Foxworthy 257 on Twitch. I'm going to get some cans. Are you going to get cans and watch with me?
All right, and welcome everyone to a very special showing of Tell Us About Yourself with Jeffrey Fox as our guest. I am GBBT, your Deep South GM, and I have Mr. General Anthony Perry, the cannoli.
Hello there.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. No adults.
Need an adult. No.
And
Which
that
is
was
funny that they can't hear you because it's yeah.
no, it switched the thing again, and
No.
I'm probably too loud
Sorry.
now.
Mhm.
All right, there I should be good now. Yeah, it wasn't muted. It's just the stupid thing changed my output again. Literally, since I tested it like an hour ago, it changed it. But like I said, they said it was a special episode, so as I know from many of the TV afternoon specials, something bad's gonna happen inappropriately, and we need an adult.
Exactly.
All
Okay, but to get started with normal questions, we will ask the normal standard pineapple or sheep.
Oh man, Evil Ed with the hard questions usually. And he's not here.
Mhm.
Pineapple or sheep's pretty easy. I hate the taste of pineapple. I don't like lamb. Uh, so neither. But if I had to choose one, uh, pineapple because occasionally I'll accidentally eat one in a fruit salad.
There you go. Pineapple it is.
Nah. And I've tried eating wool, and it's just not very tasty.
Oh, wool's not tasty at all.
Yeah.
Nah.
Wouldn't recommend that.
Nah. Definitely not recommended.
Focus camera. Okay.
You keep it getting focused on the card instead of yourself.
I don't know. I upgrade my camera. It's a piece of crap.
Focus.
I need the blue one that looks like I'm underwater again. Bust that back.
That's true. That was a good
Okay. And then there's always the sheep or fox question, but I think we know the answer there.
I guess foxes. I see. The problem is I've known so many foxes in my life that it's very hard to choose them. Horrible people. And actually, that one I would have to go with the sheep.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Lucky Cat Nico asks, cat or dogs?
Ooh. Generally cats. One dog specifically, but because I did have a dog growing up, but that was more like a family member. I would choose that dog over any cat, but in general, cats over dogs because
Night.
Yes, Night is somewhere in the house and banned from the room because he causes trouble.
Okay, the Italian Bambata asks, does Fox actually live in the woods surrounded by real foxes?
In the woods, no. Adjacent to a long stretch of the Fairmount Park, yes. Do foxes live there? Yes. So,
Granted,
yeah, I can walk out of my house, see all these trees that are part of the park, and a fox can at times wander out of there, but I don't actually live in the woods.
Mhm. But granted, for someone that lives in New York, do you think that that would be considered a forest to them?
Um, I mean, if you're stupid, sure. I mean, like, the problem with this is, like, you have to understand, like, know what a forest is. Like, just because you're living in New York doesn't mean you've never left. Like, New York, there's forest all around New York. If you leave New York, within like an hour of New York, there's forest all over the
Have you ever
place.
been to Central Park? Oh wait,
Well, that's a man-made park, so it's not
yeah,
even
I
a
know.
real park. Uh,
But around like the Finger Lakes, they have parks
sure.
or not
I mean,
forests.
there's
Let's see.
forest in New York. There's forest in most parts of New York and Massachusetts.
And
Hey,
now
but
Evil Ed is in the
yeah,
house.
there's. I mean, so the fact that they don't know what a forest is more a sad state of them. But I live near a park. The park is very heavily wooded. So and yes,
Okay.
animals live there. Deer too.
We,
It's not just foxes. There's deer and all the other stuff.
also
Brian,
have another chat question of how many more
Sure.
boss cards need to be released for you to pick up the Philly cheese cannolis?
Interesting question. Pick them up. I've owned them since they got released in both foil and that. So if you mean by pick them up, if you mean play them, how many boss cards need to come out for me to ever play that team? Um, 27
Okay, we got an answer there.
for
That's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
one for each 1 through 27 slot, and then I think it might be decent.
I still have never played them yet either.
I mean,
I
no real
almost
point
passed.
though. I mean, but
Uh,
no, I mean, a serious answer there is like you need to make it useful. One, it would need like in today's tornado, it would actually need better finishers, which it won't ever have. But then you also need good boss cards. Like, and the problem is there are boss slots coming out, but uh they're not always the best in there. And
mhm.
generally, when you're looking at something like that in Tornado, you would probably want at least 10 good cards for it to actually be really a worthwhile gimmick. Because the problem is you are flipping a lot of stuff too, so you're not going to get all those cards in play and whatnot. So, I mean, realistically, 10 good cards. But,
Fair enough.
yeah.
All right. And Evil Ed also has another one, even though we already asked his sheep or fox question.
Yes, what's my
Pickle
sheet?
or cheese?
It's not pickle. That's a cucumber.
Uh, well, do you know what Pickle is made out of?
Uh, a gherkin. No, a
Okay.
cucumber.
I mean,
Oh,
a
come
gherkin is a
on,
pickle.
cannoli.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So
I
it's
know.
close. So pickle or cheese to eat. So in general, neither really, because I only eat kosher dill pickles, and I only eat white cheeses. So I'm very limited in the scope because there's lots of different types of pickles and lots of different types of cheeses. But in general, I would probably say I eat pickles more often than I eat cheese. So
I think I like both. I need a nice pickle with some brie cheese. People think I'm really weird.
You are
That's
weird.
yeah, I don't eat brie
and
cheese.
that's okay.
All right, we got a question from the Zoom chat, and remember, you can always join us in here and ask your questions by raising your hand in the Zoom chat. But right now, Jeremy is asking, "Are chipmunks real?"
Yes, they definitely are real.
All right,
Yeah, that's a pretty easy question. Anyone who thinks otherwise is obviously living in they're not living in the woods, obviously, but they're living in their own little world.
Maybe they live in Georgia.
mhm. And then VHS 101 would like to know, what will you play more, your competitor or the young allergy competitor?
Well, the young allergy competitor, which isn't going to show up well with the background, so is a lot better. So I would play it more. I even have a deck built for it. I haven't sleeved it yet, but I got a nice 1 through 30 deck here with like really good cards.
There you go.
Really good cards for them. Like for instance, if you're playing Young Allergy, you want this really good card like Diversion Drop. Underplayed. Everyone loves that card. Or the old Gut Punch. You want that as your stop because you really only want a +1 to your turn rolls because no one really wants +2s. So really good deck. And like the Diving Takedown, you only want to search your deck. You don't want to worry about your discard pile. Just search your deck. So just play that one. It's a really good deck I have built for him.
So all the worst versions of the good cards. Got it.
I think they're all good cards.
Okay. Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme?
Are you gonna read all of these?
Oh,
Dunkin',
would you like to read some?
Well, I don't want to even read them. How relevant are they? Sorry, guys.
Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme? It depends. I would throw Krispy Kreme in the trash before Dunkin' Donuts, but that's where both of them belong.
Okay.
Okay,
I think
I'll
donuts in Philly are the best.
I got another one from the chat.
Okay.
Sheet or Wawa?
Sheets. Absolutely Sheets. Wawa is horrible. Wawa, I mean, if it was 20 years ago, I'd probably chosen Wawa, but Sheets has better quality food.
Okay.
Okay. So now that we've caught up with all of these Steam and chat, Zoom chat questions, let's get into some more personal ones.
Sure.
Foxworthy, how you doing today?
All right. I mean, bored, but I'm here.
All right. So one of the normal ones is, how did you get into Super Show, and did you get into it from a gaming perspective or from a wrestling fan background?
So, how I got into Super Show was pretty simple. I was watching the Sweets Live Twitch channel I've been a subscriber there for like 32 months at this point, and they kept talking about this game, and I kept saying like, meh, I don't really care. I looked at the website and like, not that impressed. Like, oh, cool, they have some wrestlers I like, but the game itself wasn't that impressive, just from looking at the website. And then PAX 2019 happened, and my normal schedule of playing Pathfinder and D&D kind of got blown up. So I was talking to some people from the Sweets community who were going to be there, and I met up with them, and they said, "Oh, you got to go try the game out. You go try it." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." First thing I did, I walked in there, and John Clayson sold at my hat and the fact that I was from Philadelphia. And then I retorted about how badly the Eagles beat the Vikings on their way to the Super Bowl. And after that, I was hooked. Uh, so it's easy to say I got into the game mostly because of wrestling and wrestling related things. But I have been a long time gamer, playing games and like RPGs and stuff like that for 30 years now. So a little bit of
Now,
both.
Fox. Many people might not know.
Okay.
Okay, the Sweets, is that the name of their channel, or is that a particular wrestler?
The Sweets Live is a channel that was run by Tyler Breeze. Breeze is now Sean Spears, Dilly when I first got on it, and Baron Corbin. You don't see Corbs anymore because of the WWE ban, but it is the Sweets Live on Twitch. With a
Right.
Z. Yeah, so that is the name of their Twitch channel, and it is 3 professional wrestlers that run it. And I believe most of their money that goes through there also goes to an animals charity in Florida near where they are,
That's
which is
good.
always cool. Yep,
Hopefully, it's not Big Cat Rescue, but yeah.
it is not. It is not.
Let's see. We got a question from the Zoom chat. What cities have better food than Philadelphia?
So that is obviously a loaded question because I haven't. I mean, one, it's very hard to be a better food city than Philadelphia, and also I'm not in a huge amount. But I mean, like, if you want pizza, you're gonna go to New York, because that's where real pizza's from. If you want you want a nice little deep dish lasagna, you go to Chicago. They might call it a pizza, but that's where you would go. I mean, that's stuff like that. But I think in general, the only thing you do is you stay away from Ohio for food. Because that is literally the worst place to get food in the world is Ohio. But like generally like if you want good like Tex-Mex food, you're gonna go to Texas and Southern California, like stuff like that. Like But I mean, every
Well,
place has
if you call it Tex-Mex, I don't think you're gonna go to California.
So, I mean, well, you figure that most of Southern California was Mexico at one point. I mean,
Mhm.
so it does fall into that line. But like, I hear like you can get absolutely amazing tacos in Southern California.
Well,
I don't.
yes,
In
but that's
Ohio,
not
yeah. No,
Tex-Mex.
I believe tacos falls under Tex-Mex food in the category. I believe it
God.
is
is that
definitely
like
Tex-Mex.
Del Taco? You go to
I don't know. I don't eat tacos. I've only been told that like there's a place in Philadelphia that's actually better than most Southern California taco places. But I don't eat
like
tacos and I haven't been there to try it myself, so hard for me to say for sure.
like what city have you had like the best cheeseburger you ever had? Was it Philadelphia or somewhere else?
The best cheeseburger I ever had?
Or hamburger, burger.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I know what you mean, burger. So I don't generally order many special cheeseburgers in Philly. I just normally order burgers. But I would say Indianapolis had a really good bison burger when I was there. The place closed down. It was Scotty's, and like their bison burger was amazing, and they had a whole special menu for a Gen Con out there of great burgers. But you know, if but really though, the best burgers I ever had were at home with when I would make them with Wagyu.
Oh yeah. Wagyu's
So, I mean,
awesome.
I haven't gone out and bought a Wagyu burger anywhere, but I'm sure any place I go and I buy a Wagyu burger is probably going to jump to the top of the list unless they're an absolutely horrible restaurant.
I had one of those in Anchorage. It was good. Surprisingly.
No, I mean, it's not that surprising. I mean, Anchorage. I mean, you
It's
have to have,
closer.
well, you also have to have good food in a place like that because no one wants to actually live there
True.
because it's effing cold.
Yeah.
Let's see. VHS 101 has a loaded question. Your favorite version of D&D?
Oh, it's not actually that loaded. So I've played all the versions of D&D, and it depends on really like I've the offshoot Pathfinder would be probably the one I have the most years of just constant playing, and probably
Mhm.
the most negative things, not based on the game, tied with it. Uh, Pathfinder 2 is an absolutely brilliant designed game for what it's designed to do, but so was 4th edition D&D. 4th edition D&D was actually very brilliantly designed to do what it did, but since it didn't put as much focus on like what other people wanted it to do, like roleplay wise, because you really don't need rules to roleplay if you know what you're doing. It
Mhm.
kind of got lambasted. Fifth edition is like a simple version of all of them rolled together with little bits and pieces. So it's like a hodgepodge of it, like a potpourri version of D&D. If I had to play one version of D&D for the rest of my life, and that is the only game I could play, I would have to go with 3.5 just because it is the most customizable and varied of the games. The rules can be overly complicated at times, but really, you can always simplify the game a bit if you're actually playing it. But it does give you the most customizable options. So in the end, that would be the best if I had to go with straight D&D. Like,
Okay.
but like, there's, I mean, like all role-playing games, one simplify just the D&D. It all really depends on what you want out of the system is what you want to choose. But you know,
A lot of people are concurring with you.
No, a
yeah,
lot of people are saying 3.5. Yes.
yeah.
That's what he said.
Well, no, what I'm not saying 3.5 is the best. I'm saying 3.5 is if I had to, I would have to choose it because it's the most easily customizable and has the most thing. It's not the best because there is actually no such thing as the best version of D&D. Just what's best for the current person who's looking at it.
Gotcha.
Italian Bombata is asking if you will ever eat sushi again.
Yes, I've eaten sushi since that time.
Okay.
I love sushi.
Fine.
Sushi
Yeah.
is great.
So I mean, sushi is fish. So I don't like the rice. So like,
No,
I
you can
don't
have
really.
You
sashimi
like
then.
Yeah,
rice?
I don't really like rice.
Oh, I love rice.
Yeah,
But
it's bland as shit. And I don't like soy-based flavoring stuff. But like, if you're gonna give me like salmon, like yeah, I'm gonna like salmon. You're gonna give me tuna, I'm gonna like tuna. Like, I mean, what
You
the
like the
hell?
raw stuff? The raw stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's still a fish. It still tastes good. I've eaten raw beef. Like, I'm not gonna flinch about eating raw fish.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. All right, we
Young
got
Allergy is asking top 3
you
strongest
got,
competitors in the game right now.
you
Oh,
got it.
so, uh, that's obviously a super tough question because I mean, there's so many competitors in the game. You're obviously always going to put Snake Pit up there at number one, uh, because how can you not put Snake Pit up there number one?
Criminal.
I mean, it's just probably overall the best gimmick in the game. Ombre is really close up there, but I don't know if I'd put him in top three. Not for me personally. Um, I think. I mean, there's a lot of people who sit there and say, "Oh, Theo or Mad One" and things like that, who are really powerful, and they're really not anywhere near up that far up there. Um, I would say so. If I had to go for a number two sheer power, I would probably go with. Ooh, God. Honestly, I'd actually probably go with J Train, even though you don't see it much. He has a lot of the same power level as the Flip Vic and Flip Immortal Warrior and the extra skill card and the penalties. But having a really good stop finish is very useful, especially since it's a skill check on your 10 and it's off skilled. So it's an extra sub stop based on your agility. And having a finish grapple that can bounce back and forth is amazing.
Mhm.
And then if I was going for a third, this one's hard. Evilise is amazing. Oracle is absolutely like out of the world with power again because anytime you can bounce finishers back. But like I say, the top third competitor, like the one that I would go to is Young Allergy. Absolutely
Oh,
amazing competitor, and really exclusive.
all right. Practice, I want you to list some of the underplayed competitors you think people should have a look at besides Young Allergy, because he's OP.
Yeah, I mean he is. Ooh, so basically the question is the diamond and the rough type competitors, and there are a huge amount of them as well. I think sadly Candice LeRae is little underused now, but really good competitor overall, very versatile. But I don't think that one is really out there as craziness. Uh, Yamata Hama, aka E Honda, is absolutely balls to the wall, amazing competitor. You really don't see. I think there's like two, three people that play it. I feel the same way about Drunken Master. Drunken Master is I love that deck. It's an amazing deck. You can do pretty much very good things with it if you really want to. Uh, and underpowered. A third one, ooh, that's tough to think. Um, honestly, one that I don't even play much, I would put in there is actually the Phantasm.
Ooh,
Phantasm
that's
has good finishers, but the gimmick is great, and you can play around so much now with like raising your lower skills up a bit, especially with the new line. I think Dangerous Knee Assault would turn his 5 to a 6 as well. So anyway, you can juice that 5 to a 6 to give you two triggers for that gimmick is absolutely amazing. So
Yeah,
I think Phantasm would be one.
another thing a lot of people they don't know about you, but they know about me. Obviously, the ring general
Hmm.
for playing a lot of underplayed characters and doing well in tournaments. But what a lot of people don't know is that Jeff he builds a lot of decks of underplayed competitors. He just doesn't play in a lot of tournaments, and he builds them great because when we just have fun pickup games, I see all kinds of stuff coming from Jeff.
Oh god,
So
yeah. I have currently 99 decks built. So
look
But
at that.
that was not how many you had when you had your most, right? What was the most amount of decks you had?
I believe I stopped building decks when I hit 152.
152
And then
at the
that,
same time.
yeah, and
Man,
that's
I
when
don't
I
even know if I
decided
have
to
that many
stop.
cards to do that. I'm sure I do, but
I
it's
I
just,
mean, I have way too many cards. And like I still have 99 decks built. I have enough good cards in my binder to build like 2 to 5 more decks, and then I'm trying to get rid of another like 1,500 cards extra that could I mean, in the pile I have like 4 or 5 like Armenians, or I think it's like 3 Armenian power punches, things like that, like tons, 4 or 5 like rolling forearm line cards like that. Like there's still good cards, charging headbutts in that box, because like I just don't need all these cards anymore. Like, but it's just insane. I have way too many cards, and most of them are good.
VH1. He
VHS.
asks
I knew who he meant.
if you could pick. Yeah. Well, I just do it. People are just listening. If you could pick one independent competitor to join the LFF, who would it be?
Well, if my top choice would be Trisha Dora, someone who I talked to at an indie show, who seemed kind of interested. And part of the reason for that is she was voted the #1 wrestler in the Black Wrestler Illustrated number 500 last year. She was #1. She is also rated highly on the Queer Wrestling and Illustrated, the QWI number 200. I forget what number she was in there, but I believe she was in the top 30 or so. So one of these things is she's an amazing wrestler. Her Finnish strike would probably be the Lariat Tubman, which is an amazing name for a finisher.
That's awesome.
I absolutely love it. She's incredibly talented in the ring, and she is very representative of a wider variety of community member people. And so she's just overall amazing, and she's a cool person. So uh, that would be the #1 choice for me.
Okay. Got any more questions, Canoli?
Let's see here. Is Witch's Apprentice one of those 99 decks?
Not currently. It was. I did have Witch's Apprentice built pre-Origins, but I decided to put together a Cheer and Fear deck. So I broke up my Witch's Apprentice because I needed the strike finish out of it, and I wasn't going to build Chloe Mai, so I put them together to see. I haven't really actually run it yet since then. Maybe this week in Tornado I might. I don't know, because I got my Origins, I got my Fashion Popo cards, and I absolutely fell in love with that Tornado team. So I haven't really been wanting to play other teams.
Okay.
Guess Young Allergy's asking the top 3 Finnish names of all time. I don't know if that's
No,
card
that
games.
he's saying that the Harriet Tubman
Oh, okay.
is
That's
like-
one of them.
Lariat Tubman.
okay.
Lariat Tubman. Yeah.
Larry Tubman. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Probably true. It probably is one of the top 3. I would put it there if I had to. Back Fist to the Future. Eddie Kingston's Chikara spinning backfish. Absolutely amazing name. Lariat Tubman. And oh man, trying to find a third one that would be is just that amazing is really hard.
Styles Clash? I don't know.
God, no.
Like that's what. All right.
That's like such a basic type name.
I don't swing and a miss.
That was a swing and a miss.
What do you mean? That could be my opinion. All right.
No, he's saying
If your opinion is that the Styles Clash is a clever name, then yes, it is a swing and a miss.
I'm pretty sure the swing and a miss was referring to the top 3 Finnish names of all time being a question rather than a statement.
Well, I mean, both.
Sorry, that's top 3. It's not even proper English from the guy that's so intended on English. Blood Feud. Get out of here, Young Allergy.
I mean, fair.
I'll kick him out. Jeremy's asking, what factors made you decide to officially remove yourself from all LFF title contentions?
Interesting question. I don't think anyone's actually really asked me that. But so the funniest thing about it for me is that I was not considered for any title contention until I announced that I wasn't going to do it anymore. And it seems like it's almost like people want it to be a game of like, oh, is he going to give it up for this? Is he going to give it up? And like, no, I made the decision. But mostly it was more for my mental health of it, because it was one of those things where it was like, well, what do you have to do to get a title shot? Be good at this game? Like, cool, I was doing really well in lots of events. Be a good person in the community? Well, I figured I was one of that. It's like, and when you're not, it got to a point where it's like, well, it's been many months that I've been doing well that like I wasn't getting a look at, and it's like, well, kind of bummed me out a bit, and like I decided like titles weren't really worth it that much. If it like, in the end, I know I'm a good player. I don't need title belts to tell me that. I don't need to sit there and chase them, and actually trying to do it was actually detrimental to me because other people weren't looking at me as the same way. So then, ironically enough, afterwards I did it. Then it's like, oh, we should have him for this title shot. He should have him for this title shot, but too little, too late. But
Going into a similar question there, what
Sure.
originally got you into the announcer booth and hosting so many Super Show shows?
Back with the Virtual Grand Gathering, Bell and Polverino needed people in the Zoom room while they set up their camera cuts and things like that. So I was already thinking about doing some little streaming and stuff like that because I was bored, because I wasn't working at that time because it was during the pandemic, early in the pandemic. So I was listening to them and I'm like, oh, they made it sound pretty easy. Like I could figure stuff out from there. Bell also did a little tutorial on how to do streaming and stuff like that, so I learned a bit from that. And then from there, it was just like the person people were using was a piece of shit. Uh, and kind of, when he left the community, kind of left a vacuum for stuff. And people wanted to stream more events and things like that, and you couldn't always have the same people doing it. And so I started helping out with that, and I figured if I was going to be doing the streaming, I might as well have to do the commentating. And then from there, I guess I started doing that a good bit. And then the GM needed someone to fill in, so he helped me out. And then we ended up having good chemistry as a commentary duo, so we kept doing it.
Okay.
I think you're excellent on commentary.
I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't say I'm excellent. I'm good for the way our game is portrayed. Like, if you put me in a real wrestling ring, the way my commentary did would be horrible. But I'm fine. But I'm a sarcastic asshole. And because of that, I can work pretty well with like random stuff coming up. Plus, I am knowledgeable about the game, and like I can kind of figure out where people are going with their decks just by watching it. So that helps a lot, which is one of the things in the game. Like, because obviously with the people playing the game not being able to hear you, you can speculate about what's going to happen next. Which you can't do in person. Which is one of the limits to doing in person, which is why like when we were at Origins, it ended up being more puns and memes and like inside jokes commentary rather than legitimate good commentary. But like when you're online and the people can't hear you, you can predict what they're going to play, which helps tell the story of the tactics behind it to the people watching. I think that's something people like, instead of doing like, because before me, for the most part, most people would just do play by play. Oh, he just played a headshot. He's going to play this. Whereas more when I've done it, I've helped being like, okay, well, he's playing this card. So he's probably trying to go for this finisher or things like that, which I think helps get the people watching more to think about what is actually happening rather than just being passive about it, which I think helps.
Now here's another question off of just that portion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think going to a similar style in person by pulling the announcers from watching directly and maybe putting them in the little sound booth on their own, do you think that would be better for them?
Yes, if there was like a commentating table that the commentators, like if you set up the streaming, like if you had a legitimate streaming setup where like you had the cameras over top of the players and then the other commentary team farther away, and yes, I think you could still do that there.
Mhm.
It would kill the crowd participation, but it would help. Like obviously, it would like Bombada. I think mentioned how the commentary actually heard him at Origins, which I felt bad about, but and it did. Like you could tell from our angle, like me and the number one ref Zach Snow's angle, that they did have some effect on him. Like, but wasn't really the best for him. So
Mhm.
like that's a problem, which is why I try not to do as much live commentary anymore.
Mhm. Well, I mean, your commentary, even live, is definitely a lot better than a couple of people that they've had on a couple of the
Sure.
broadcasts recently.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not.
sometimes they just have people standing around, and
Yeah.
Somebody's filming it, and somebody will hop in and commentate.
Yeah, and I mean, I did a little bit of that at PAX, I think, for one match and made comments. But it's not so much. It's not that. It's uh, like for instance, making jokes that Bombada understood and not everyone at the table understood, threw him out of the game because he's focusing on the jokes that he's getting it, but his opponent's not. So it actually put him at a disadvantage as a player because of that.
Mhm.
So while the commentary was entertaining to the people who got the joke or the inside joke and heard it, it was detrimental to the players at the table.
Okay.
So, and that's the problem with that, like doing live commentary, is making it entertaining, but also not detrimental to the players. So it ends up being that you have to be like, when they can hear you, just reacting to what they're doing. You can't do the predicting thing because then both of them hear it, and you can't be like too in joking funny because like it can like distract the players themselves too, which is a problem.
Okay.
Jeremy, on a different note, would like to know: have you ever considered running tournaments yourself?
I have run tournaments myself. I ran a triad tournament that ended at like 2 a.m. But had some really great matches. For the most part, I ran the inaugural U.S. title tournament pretty much all by myself, and that was a
That's just so
50-some
beautiful.
player one night thing. Yes, the best about the triad tournament is, uh, unbeknownst to me, there were I put different people who were in the same faction but had not announced them into triad matches, which was hilarious. But it was one of those things where it was funny. And no, Schmidt, you did not win because I distracted Chris. You won because you played well. Me distracting Chris, like, like, kind of like bothered him a bit, but it's not the reason why you won. He could have like played better too and rolled better.
No, if you're saying that just him getting distracted by Foxworthy was enough to cause him to lose,
No.
then you're saying that Bombada is a terrible player.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Yeah, right. It wasn't just because I was doing it that he lost. He lost because you lost, but it did have an effect on him. Like it did throw his game off a little bit, but not enough that that is the sole reason he lost. The sole reason he lost is because you beat him. You rolled better.
Yep.
You played the cards. He didn't play the right cards to stop him. That's how the game worked. But there is an effect from the commentary, is what I'm saying. Like it could have been far worse. Like I mean, like if it was more open, it could have bothered him more. But no, that's not why you. That is not the reason you won. It is a factor in that it did throw him off a bit, but it is not the reason why you won. You won because you outplayed him.
Okay, we are after 6 o'clock, and Nightmare King is still not here, so we are going to ask his favorite question. If you
7
could be in
o'clock on the Eastern Standard.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you could be in a tag team with any other wrestler throughout any portion of wrestling history,
Any other wrestler?
who, yeah,
Yeah, I'm a wrestler.
in this current wrestling tag team scene, what promotion would you go for? And who would you like to face?
Any wrestler from any time in history, bring them to the present day and wrestle for any title, right?
Any tag title, yes.
All right, and this also assumes I am magically a wrestler, as Practice Day says yes, correct. So I would say if I could pull any wrestler back, I would pull back Sweet and Sour Larry Sweeney and go for the AEW Tag Team titles. Larry Sweeney passed away from suicide back in 2012, but he was an amazing talent, amazing voice. He deserved to be on the bigger stage. So if I had the opportunity to take anyone from any time, I would take him and put him on the stream.
There you go.
Right. Speaking of questions people usually ask when I get a chance. So, Fox, who is your top 3 favorite male wrestlers of all time, and top 3 favorite female wrestlers of all time?
Wow. All right. So I lose a couple wrestlers from this because of non-binary wrestlers.
Yeah, I
So
understand. So yeah, I
so
understand.
I have to
I
throw
mean,
them to
you
the
could do
side
that in
because
you could do that in a separate category if you
No,
want to.
we'll go your way. But those poor non-binary wrestlers. So if I have to do 3 male, 3 female, male is very simple. Ultramantis Black, Eddie Kingston, and currently Jonathan Gresham would be my top 3. Female, pretty quick too. It would be Session Moth Martina, absolutely amazing. Trisha Dora, and I would go for the third. Sorry, I was reading Practice Stage question for the next one. And third favorite female wrestler is kind of the tough one for me because, like, at this point, there's a lot of parity for me in the women's division of like ones I like. Uh, Not like even with the third for the man, I'm going with Gresham is like tough because like next week there'll probably be a different third there. Top 2s are usually locked in, the other ones aren't. I would say currently right now I would go with probably Kaya McKenna, even though she's out injured at the moment. She's really entertaining.
Okay, and practice. I would like to add your top 3 favorite non-binary wrestlers.
All right. Well, number 1 would be Shay McCoy. Number 2 would be Max the Impaler, and number 3 would be Calix. They would be my top 3 favorite non-binary wrestlers at the moment.
And then Schmidt
Not
comes up
Surreal?
afterwards with favorite cookie.
What was that?
Not Edith Surreal.
Edith Surreal's a woman, so I wouldn't put her
I
in
think
the
she.
non-binary. No, she is female. I would
Oh,
not.
I didn't.
I would
I'm
definitely
sorry.
not put her into non-binary.
I thought
Still
she
life
category.
Still life with apricots and pears was non-binary.
Oh,
but
she previously did. Okay, I apologize for
yeah, she has transitioned, and she's a woman.
that. Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
What's your favorite cookie?
Favorite cookie? Well, I don't really eat cookies anymore. In the past, it would have been my mom's homemade chocolate chip cookies. If I had to go with store bought, it would have been Oreos. Oreos are absolutely addicting.
They're America's favorite cookie.
Bombada would like to ask horse or shark.
Oh, I don't think I want to eat any of them, especially after I found out how shark fins are made.
It's so sad.
So taste-wise, I probably have eaten horse and didn't know about it, so I guess I'll go with horse.
Okay.
Unless you're talking about like as a favorite animal, and then I would go for neither because they're both shitty animals.
Fun fact: a member of the line has eaten horse before. They didn't know it though when they ate it. Then they found out later.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I potentially said I may have too, so that's
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. Horse is a horse, of course, a horse.
Glue. I mean,
All
if
right.
you ever ate glue, glue's good.
So, Foxworthy,
Sure.
who would win in a fight, Josiah or Hot Rod Newman?
Oh man, going with 2 of my own characters. That's a hard thing. Probably Hot Rod because he would cheat, so he would definitely win the first match as a heel should, and then eventually down the road, Josiah should get the heat back by winning. Like
Okay.
every good heel should put over their face eventually. But if it's just a one-on-one match, it's going to be the heel with a load of gov, man.
Fox, are there any competitors you're looking forward to building soon? I mean, yeah, new or old?
Well, I just killed Young Allergy. So
Just besides answer.
yeah, I lightly saw it. I didn't really read it yet. I'm losing it, but there's none that I'm really planning to build again because I have tons of them like pretty much if I wanted to build to try it at this point, I have it. Like none of the New South people really jumped out at me as like I'll probably build Dump Standards at one point just so I have Dump, Madman, and Practice Site all built. But I'm not really rushing into that at the moment. Or really too worried about it. So no, there's really not any like right now that I'm. Maybe when the Pulverizer comes out, I'll build that to see if I can do some good stuff since that's a really new gimmick, very unique to the game, never seen before gimmick, that Pulverizer. So it seems
Was
like
that
fun.
the
Yeah, you can
anti
discard cards from your hand to get a bonus
anti-cosmic?
to your first.
Whatever.
No, that's
No.
Kronos. Kronos is going to
Oh.
be amazing, and I'm going to love that guy. But he's probably like 6 months off because he's going to be a Kickstarter guy, I think. No, Pulverizer's gimmick is going to be for when you get hit with a finish, your first breakout roll, you can discard up to 3 cards from your hand for a +1 to your breakout rolls for each card discarded, and if one of them's a suplex, it's like another +2 bonus. Or
Oh yeah, because that is a very unique effect.
Unique gimmick. Never's been in the game before at all.
Never before.
Never before.
Nope.
Gonna be amazing.
Nope. Awesome.
Apparently, James Booker is representing Impact in the dojo. Nobody cares at that
We're
point.
supposed to spread the news. Who cares?
I thought it was supposed to be Cheetah and someone else.
Yeah, it's Cheetah versus Booker now.
Yeah, they announced somebody earlier that nobody cares about.
Boo. That's a bait and switch. Bait and switch. I don't know who the other person was supposed to be.
Well, no, it would have been a bait and switch if if we got there thinking that it was one and then it was Booker. But no, they announced Booker ahead of time now. So now it's not bait and switch. Now it's just like, well, we now know who wins.
Oh, it was supposed to be Peppy. No, that's
bait and
switch.
Yes.
We wanted Peppy.
Yes.
We want Peppy. Get Peppy in. We don't want Booker.
Yeah.
If Booker was able to play games, he should have played his Cookie's Fortune.
Get Colin
he
Simon.
He didn't play his Cookie's Fortune yet? But I keep on being told that that's already been done in secret.
Well, we'll see. That's what some people would like you to believe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Should have been Peppy.
Should have
Justice
been
for Peppy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes, the Pulverizer gimmick is very revolutionary.
Okay. So we got about 10 minutes left before we are done with the program. If anyone has any questions they would like to get in right before the end, please get them in. Another one out of my normal wheelhouse, or I guess not normal wheelhouse, because I just make up questions on the spot.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. But if you could change one part of your gimmick or one finisher to make yourself more satisfied with Foxworthy, what would you do?
Oh God, that's a long string of text messaging between me and Allergy, and then me and the boss. It's definitely more than one. I wouldn't touch the gimmick. I think if you touch the gimmick, it kind of ruins the flavor of the character. So that would be it. If I could only change one finish, I think what it would be is I would change the strike finish to have, instead of it just being shuffle 3 back, I would have it be when stopped, shuffle 3 cards back into your deck, or add a stop from your discard pile to your hand, and maybe pump up the bonus to the lower stats a bit, so it actually helps the lower stat a bit, so that people don't actually want to finish or the hit.
Would you still call it the same?
Yeah, it would be the same move. It would just be slightly buffed to the lower skills maybe like a +2 to the 5 or a +1 to the 5 and a +1 to the 6, and then that extra thing instead of the stop effect, so that like you can at least, if you're spamming it and the opponent's stopping it, you can get either stops back or try to trigger to get your flip the sub.
Got a question from Young Allergy in the chat. Your top 3 favorite pop punk bands?
Ooh, that's a good question. Pop punk is a very wide genre. Like I would consider Mask Intruder more poppy punk than regular punk, so they would be number 1. But I can see people not wanting them in there. But generally, I would say Masked Intruder, Alkaline Trio is more poppy these days. Yeah, I guess they're more poppy these days. And things I'm listening to a lot. That's the hard part. It's one of those things that changes all the time. But probably MXPX.
Mm-hmm. What else we got, Chibi?
You got any other questions you want to ask him?
I mean, talking about the music, I mean, we did that whole Spotify thing where my top 5 genres of music were all variations of punk, which was very interesting.
VH101 wants to know your top 3 favorite bands of all time.
VHS 101. It's something completely different otherwise.
I mean, his name doesn't matter, does it? All right, so that's I would say Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers is my number 1 favorite band of all time.
Well, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, probably since I was 11, so 30 years.
Rest in peace, Tom.
Yeah, that actually hit me pretty hard. Like my friends who were really close to me before that happened, like some of them were offering me condolences when they happened because they knew how much of a Tom Petty fan I was. I mean, up until probably the most recent years, I owned every single studio released album that they had, including box sets. And they're all sitting somewhere, like huge piles of them. So Tom Petty would definitely be the number 1. Hey, we got an extra camera there. Number 2 would probably be at this point be Masked Intruder. I just absolutely love that band. Number 3 is probably a little tougher, but traditionally that would. There's 3 bands that tend to flip flop there. No Effects, Bouncing Souls, and Bad Religion. I would say at this point, right now, I would go with No Effects as the 3rd. But those tend to flip flop a bit.
I always get the 2 confused. No FX and MXPX. Which one was the Christian brand?
MXPX was on the Christian label, tooth and nail.
Okay.
No Effects is absolutely not a Christian band.
Okay. Yeah, I always got those 2 confused. So.
I mean, their one album is White Trash, 2 Hebes, and a Bean, because 2 of them are Jewish. One's White Trash, and one's a man of Mexican descent. So, yep, definitely not a Christian band.
Mm-hmm. All right. Audience, we got 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Shoot some more questions in there.
Well, at this point, we're gonna continue with the guest asking each of us a question.
Oh.
Okay. Oh yes.
Oh,
I forgot.
yeah.
I forgot. That was a new segment.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure I've asked you all questions before in the past. So, I'll start with the cannoli. My question for you is, why is the food in Ohio so bad?
Oh, because it's towards the middle of the country, and it's not a lot of. I mean, you go to a bigger city, you get good food. So it's not like you get good melting pots there. Like Columbus has a good food scene, but like I'm in fudge nowhere. I don't know if I can say that word. So I mean, I could take what I can get. There's good hot dog places by me. I mean, hot dogs are lips and assholes. I don't know. What do you want me to say? I don't know why. I have, but I eat it. But you know what?
I mean, you're obviously gonna eat it. You have to survive. I understand that.
But I'm fortunately enough that I get food from my family who makes great food. So that's I I eat more at home than I do out. So
All right. Well, that may. Well, I mean, I don't blame you there because the food's horrible in those areas,
Mhm.
and especially when you say Columbus is the good food area, because I've been around there and it is not.
I don't know.
When your
I guess a
fallback is a
fallback
hot
is a
dog.
hot spot. I don't know. I mean, that's literally
Yeah, the
the
best is
geographically closest vicinity. I don't know. There's
fallback
good.
food is amazing because, well, our best fallback food is a hot dog, which is all the shittiest parts of a pig or cow shoved into a thing, boiled, and then cooked. Yeah,
Well, okay, we have the magnificent McDonald's in Niles, Ohio, which
Oh my
is it's
god.
an all glass McDonald's, but it's still effing McDonald's. So I don't know.
Stop.
Do I feel
Stop.
special like going inside and being surrounded by glass and eating it? No, I don't know.
building.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay, go for the jugular because that was rough.
Man, that was great. So, I mean, the thing is with Chibi, there's not as many questions other than, like, especially since, like, for some reason you don't consider tacos Tex-Mex. I don't know, that just seems weird. Um, but, let's see. Alright. So, Chibi, why is Hold the Line Harry the best Deep South GM?
You do realize those are fighting words, right?
I mean,
He
you're the one that has to explain to me. That's your
he
question.
he is one of the worst. No, he is the worst of the Deep South GMs. We want to know why? Because he does the least amount of work possible.
That seems smart.
Mhm. I have to come up with all of these ideas. This past weekend, I give him this very simple thought process of if Mackenzie wants to defend in person during your event, by all means, go ahead and do it. And he was like, I don't know. I don't think, who are we going to get? And it's like, you already are running an event. You got a bunch of people available for it. Just pick out of those. And eventually it did happen, but it's just one of those things. It's like, I shouldn't have to come up with all the ideas for everything and still have to pay Chuggy and Chuggy Cola
I mean,
to keep him satisfied.
that's fair.
Mhm.
So why is he the best? Because so Harry's the best because he can get the most out of the Deep South GM without actually doing the amount of work. That makes sense.
Mhm.
That makes sense. I agree with you there. That's why he
He,
is the
he,
best.
okay, you want to know why he's the best? Because he wears that silly little sweatband on his head. It's so cute.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, it worked for Matt Nealon, so you know. All right. So that was my questions for you. So any other questions for me? I mean, there's a couple minutes left in the show. I
Keep
assume.
digging.
Yeah, they're telling Cannoli to keep digging because his answer kept making it
Top
sound.
three favorite
From
movies.
hot dogs
Go.
to McDonald's. Yep.
Top three favorite movies.
That would be Citizens Kane, uh,
Rosebud.
Excalibur, and my third favorite movie would probably the one I always think about. And I don't watch it that much. Would be Brick.
And I guarantee you, Young Allergy has seen zero of those movies.
That I mean, one is really old. The other is also pretty old, and the other was a small independent movie in the mid to early 2000s.
See, so you should just ask the better question of top three movies that you think Young Allergy has seen.
I
Well, he made
mean,
a Lawnmower Man reference,
I've
so that
actually,
would cover one of them.
yeah, I've actually watched Citizen Kane on the original film strip. So
Oh wow, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, because actually in high school for my film studies class. because the teacher was actually had it, which is one of the reasons when we
Oh.
discussed it, how amazing that movie was cinematography wise.
I was about to ask, how in the world did you get your hands on the original one? And that makes that answer simple. I thought, did you rob a theater?
No, I had a
You
teacher.
do some like Ocean's 11 kind of stuff. You
No,
know?
it was a teacher, and it was like his passion project for a movie, so he made sure he brought it in and showed it to us all with the original.
Mhm.
And then we got to discuss everything about it, which is amazing. Like the use of lighting and everything like that in that movie is actually very amazing for the time period it was set in.
Mhm.
But yes,
Good
so
movie.
that would be my favorite movie. But Brick, the
Cool.
number 3 there, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is actually a really good movie. It's
I've never seen that actually. I will check
it's
that out.
a film noir type movie set in a high school. It's really actually interesting. Explain in detail why you never give anything
Yep.
to anyone or do anything nice ever, and anyone else who says you do is lying. Yes, that is absolutely true. I've never done anything nice for anyone. It's because I'm from Philadelphia. We don't do nice things for people. And I will do anything nice for anyone. And yes, everyone who ever said I ever did anything nice to them is lying to besmirch my Philadelphian reputation.
Mhm.
Practice site is correct to that.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's the end of this show.
Yeah, that seems to be it. And I don't think I have anyone lined up for next week. So it is open if people are interested. If not, we can take a week off before we start the new year.
Until we next time see you,
Yeah.
Cannoli, will you start us off or say our bye, man?
Bye, man.
Bye.